Welcome back to We Care a Lot. I'm half the podcast, Sam.
I'm the other half, Mel.
How are you guys? It is a Saturday for us. And if you hear any noises, it's because family is home.
Family's home, family's doing things.
Dad is oblivious to it all, clearly, if you can hear
God. Bloat. Oh, he is.
As we were saying, if you hear anything, don't worry about it. It's not ghosts, even though this house is for sure haunted. Anyways. Today's topic is friendship changes. I feel like we've talked about friendships a few times, like friendship breakups. In general.
Like how to be a good friend.
Yeah, being a good friend.
I think we both have certain like changes in friendships and like relationships. The dynamics of how things are working. We've had a lot happen in the last like half year, and so it just feels like a relevant topic. Mm-hmm. And I did hear that like people tend to have like these like changes in friendship. The first one is like right out of high school, and then the second one is like sometimes like right out of college, but for the most part it happens when you're 25 and 26. So I think we're like right at the ripe age of like these extreme changes in friendships. Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to happen again at 30 or 35. So
yeah, I think it's just like everyone has the phases of life that everyone's like now shifting from, like high school shift. Now you're going to college, and some people are either living on their own or with roommates or in a different state. So they have their own bag of problems, and then people who stayed home have their own bag of problems. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah. And then now we're like mid-20s, where either you're like really settling down or some of your friends are extremely on the single side. Yes. Or some of them even have like babies.
Yeah.
Or some of them are literally moving and like leaving this like comfortable nest that we've all been in. And so it's everyone I think is making like large changes in some form, whether it is like somebody being single and like coming out of a relationship, or it's somebody getting into a new relationship and that's just also feeling like extraneous on the relationship itself. So there's a lot of changes
within friendships,
and especially when you're trying to figure yourself out in the mid-20s.
The 20s.
I think, like, we'll talk about it when you turn 26.
Oh, Lord.
But I do feel like there's been, like, a sudden, like, shift that I feel. Mm-hmm. And it sounds, like, so dramatic. Like, my brain stopped developing, and I feel it.
All of a sudden, I'm better than everyone.
No. It feels very... like life feels very serious in some form now, and I don't know what there's no like real reason to it, but it just like this shift is there.
It's like oh, so you're 26, you're gonna be 30 in 4 years. So
stop it.
It's just this big question mark, like, and this is it.
Yeah,
that's what I feel. I feel like I'm not even 26, but I feel I'm like, hello. What's going on?
Yeah. So I think it's just like the time. Also, I think like there's a spirit in like in this age group where like you're either figuring out that things are really working for you, like the way that you've been doing them for the last 5 years, or they're not, and so you have to make a change.
Big change, yeah.
And that is the scary part, and I think that's the major reason why these other things are happening within friendships.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
It's fucked.
I mean, I think the number one reason, because I think I wrote this topic, right? Mm-hmm. I think I wrote it because our friend Bodhi has decided to depart. Depart LA. Which is so exciting, obviously. I'm kind of jealous. I'm like, I want to move away for a few months and...
she's moving for 3 years. So
well,
with no return flight, let's say.
At first, it was for the summer, but then thankfully for her, things have gotten even better.
Yeah, I think for her that it was a definite move forever.
Yeah,
whether or not she was going to London, but now that it's like She was either going to move to New York for the summer and stay there for the rest of the time. I don't know, whenever she was going to come back. Or she was going to go to London afterwards. And thankfully that did happen for her. And so now she's moving not only like across the country, but across the globe.
It's insane. And
starting a new life and new friends and just all of that good stuff. Literally a new life. She's starting a new life, a new chapter.
It must feel kind of like, it's scary for sure, but like a freeing. Little fresh.
Yeah, it's freeing.
A little
for
like,
sure.
I can be whoever I want again.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the cool part, is you get to reinvent yourself with big changes like that, you know?
A lot of reflection.
Lots of reflection here.
Also, I'm wearing this shirt because I thought it was really fitting that...
When I walked in, I had like a jump scare. not Sam herself, but the shirt.
Yes. R.I.P. in a lot of different ways.
For a lot of you who aren't watching and are just listening, she's wearing a Happy Sucky shirt. We've kind of talked about, I guess we did, right? Discuss Happy Sucky.
To a very
surface level degree. Mm-hmm. It was a business we tried to start, and just for relationship reasons did not work out.
Yes.
But anyway, it feels very on theme.
It's on brand. So I feel like I said, first big reason of why this topic was brought up, because someone was moving. And I feel like for me, that shift originally for me, people moving, was college or high school to college. So two of my best friends moved away for college, and it's kind of weird because I feel like I was more dramatic going from 8th grade to 9th grade than my friends moving across the fucking country. Well, one of them, but
you know, you were having big feelings in a little body. That's what it is.
Yeah, like 8th grade to 9th grade, I cried my eyes out. Me and Katie just bawled in the back of her dad's car, and I was like, why are we so sad? We're literally seeing half of these people next year, or like in 3 months. But when they moved away, we're older. I feel like I just had like this sense of security in that friendship or friendships.
Yeah,
that I was just kind of like, yeah, this is just like a new phase for all of us, and we're gonna figure it out, and I'll learn everything together when we come back together. It was very interesting because everyone did such different things. Like Katie went to Air Force Academy. Wow.
And it's our own journey.
A very big journey. And then my friend just went to went to Santa Cruz. I'm just saying just because it was close.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that far. But like the way we also never visited each other.
For 4 years.
I mean, like, technically they came home, but it wasn't, like, obviously to see me.
It was like, I'm coming home.
I'm coming home for summer.
And you live in home.
Yes, you live home still. Home is you.
You are home.
So, yeah, I feel like that's my experience with people moving.
Yeah.
Far, anyway. But now, if they moved far, I don't know. It'd be different, I think.
I think it's a different feeling.
It's also just, like... Obviously, you still do things when you're, like, in high school with your friends. But it's, like, a different thing of doing things with your friends now.
It is. It is.
It's, like, way more intentional and less just, like, I'm bored and need something to do.
For me, this, like, shift and having Bodhi leave, she was a part of, like, my weekly, like, routine. Not routine necessarily, but, like, the people that I would rotate in my weekly schedule to see. Because we lived very close at the time, as if it wasn't like literally
like Monday.
But she lived like 8 minutes from me. And so it was very easy
to pick up
and be like, hey, let's just
go to Target or whatever.
Literally. Mm-hmm. And something we like commonly shared is we would go to the movies a lot. Like it was just like our activity of like, hey, what are y'all doing today? Nothing. It'd be like, let's maybe schedule a movie. Or like sometimes we wouldn't even ask each other and just schedule it. And then we like each knew that we had a date that day. You know what I mean? So, and that was like on a weekly basis. Sometimes we would see her 3 times a week. Sometimes we would see her once. But it was at least once every week. And so...
You guys went to Agape together?
Yeah, we went to like our spiritual center. It was just she's a big part of my life. And so having her move has like not only like... It's like I'm not necessarily just losing a friend. Also, I'm not losing her, but like physically losing a friend. It's also just like my scheduling and my like life routine and like the way that I go about my weeks is changing. And that was very like abrupt and very like I don't know, I was distressed for a little bit. It
just like grieving a part of your not life, but like routine.
But it was, you know, like it's kind of like the same feeling that we were just talking about, like when you're in 8th grade and like you are with these people all the fucking time.
You're grieving that.
You're grieving the experience that you had within that time.
Damn.
With those people, because they were part of your life. I'm so glad I was emotional for it.
I'm so glad I cried, because that was such a time.
But yeah, it's hard for sure. But like you said, I think it's different because now we're adults, and like I didn't have to see her every day, you know. You chose to. I chose to, and so.
But that's why
it hurts a little.
Her leaving, you know, you guys are still going to be friends because you are intentional friends. It wasn't just like, you want to go out tonight? Totally. You'd be losing that. Like, of course, you could still be sad if that was part of your experience, but you can find people to go out with anywhere.
Go out and you'll probably find somebody that will go out with you again.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a little more difficult when they are good friends.
Good friends, for sure. But yeah, I think like my first experiences of like that kind of a thing, I think was like coming out of high school too. I didn't have anyone go like extremely far away, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think most of my friends were like within California, and like you said, they would come home for breaks. And I feel like when you're in school, you're busy, and like you're also waiting for the next time that you have like a break. So
it's
also
like a little more selfish too in college. Like, I mean, obviously as an adult, when you have a job, you're still like selfishly living your life as you should at your life. But like in college, there's just like this weird like angst. Like you still have your high school angst a little, like relationships are so angsty, and like making new friends is so angsty.
Totally.
But like as an adult, you can actually
like life is still very drama.
Yes.
When you're in college.
So it's like, let me just catch you up on the drama, bitch. Like,
yeah. And now it's like, hey, how are you doing?
I'm like, good. It's kind of detrimental right now.
Feeling awful today, but it's, you know, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just a different experience as now like a mid-20s person dealing with. Also, like, I've known her since I was 19, so that's also a big part of it. It's like feeling like I legitimately like grew up with somebody. I mean, I guess like that's how you feel when you come out of high school too. Like you feel like you grew up with these people, but this is like a separate section of like growing up, like into adulthood. It's such a different experience that like
you're like legally allowed to do things.
It's just like you go through the again, like the angsty feelings of like growing into an adult and like constantly trying to fucking figure it out together. Yeah. And now they're like, again, spreading their wings. And I guess I am too in my own way. Like she's going off and like I'm actually settling more like, you know, into like a home and stuff. So it's
everyone's
just different.
That's also the thing about friendships is like, it's kind of crazy to think that you can get comfortable and like not seek out more friendships, I guess. Like, I feel like it's so easy for us to be like, I love these people. Why would I
try to make more?
Right. Like, what if they're drama, or what if they're this, or what if they're that? But I feel like, isn't that like kind of the point of life? Like meeting new people and like whatever. But it's super scary. I will not lie. As the person trying to make new friends, I think that's terrifying. I just updated my Bumble BFF side note.
I need to do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that today.
Do it. I vouch. But anyway, so like that's scary, but then it's also so scary for like the group that already exists, because it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not like those friends aren't good enough, or those friends don't serve the purpose that they are supposed to be serving, or whatever. It's just like,
it's the feeling it never hurts more.
Yeah, it never hurts to have more good friends. And like, I don't know. But also like quality over quantity.
That's
100%.
That's the part that I have like difficulty with. Like, I'm like, I would love to make new friends, but at the same time, I'm like,
can you give more of yourself to more people?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm already having a hard time, like, I'm struggling with like balancing my current relationships with everybody. Why am I gonna add another fucking person in? Like, you know, like I definitely feel like this is like very like vulnerable thing to say for myself right now, but like in like Bodhi leaving, I feel like I obsessively like just put all of my time in like kind of like saying goodbye in a way that like I spent a lot of time with her in the last 2 weeks. Why do I feel like crying?
I don't know. You can.
No.
Why not?
I don't want to.
Okay, you don't have to.
But with that, like, I feel like I put, like, a lot of... Jesus Christ.
Just let it out.
No.
You already are unwillingly. I don't have tissue.
Stay in, bitch.
You want the blanket?
No, that's cat hair, girl.
It's probably destroyed with cat hair.
Anyway, I feel like I've, like, kind of, like, put myself on the back burner, but also, like, a bunch of other things were also happening at the same time. Like, our, like, business breakup. And then Jen also just, like, finished her master's and stuff. And I feel like there's, like, a lot of different things to celebrate, but I feel like I, like, focus so deeply on something else. And, like, I'm not judging myself or, like, guilting myself for it, but it's just, like, I recognize that there's, like, other relationships that I'm also having a hard time, like, making time for. And that's the part that I have, like, difficulty of, like, okay, making new friends probably shouldn't be happening right now until you, like, feel like you have, that's like, fair. Everything, like, rounded up, you know, making time for everyone that currently exists.
I mean, I think friends can also be born out of natural. Like, totally. It doesn't have to, I mean, obviously, I feel like most of the people on Bumble BFF are very much, like, new to town, don't know fucking anybody. God, yeah. So it's kind of like, it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be someone's tour guide. Like,
and that's also, like, the shitty part. Like, I feel like the first time I went on Bumble BFF, I was in Seattle.
A lot of girls from Seattle are here, I will say. Like, half the bitches on Bumble BFF were, like, from Seattle, new here. I was like, why are you all from Seattle? Anywho.
But
everyone was local in Seattle?
Yeah. And weird. Well, not local. No. Oh. They were also all transplants, but I just definitely feel like Seattle was very different, though. Like, I feel like everyone was super cliquey, and, like, everyone who had their group, they had, like, their comforts of, like, just staying within it. So, like, if somebody from, like, who had a group already was on Bumble, it would be, like, a one-off date, and, like, you would never hear from them again. And it's just, like, why are you...
I feel like it's weirder than going on dates.
It's, like, they literally ghosting me. Like, why are you...
You said,
okay, girl. Like, I don't know. Anyway. So, like, I'm not...
You're not trying to add people right now.
Yeah. But I am, but at the same time.
You said, but don't shy away if you want to be friends.
I've made a friend through work, and, like...
Yeah. I think you're maybe you're overthinking the level of friendship you expect yourself to give. Maybe because that's what you expect to get in return.
That's interesting.
But maybe you're just kind of like, because you went to her graduation. I'm thinking of Jen. You went to her graduation. Yeah. You've made time for us. You've made time for Bodhi, clearly. Like you're saying, you dedicate a lot of time to that. So, like, and you also invited everyone to, like, the Bodhi thing. So it's not like it was, like, I don't know. Maybe you're just overthinking it.
Maybe.
Or maybe you just want more.
I think it's just, I just want more time with everybody that I have right now. I don't know. I also feel like, for me, it was, like, Bodhi and Erica were, like, they were on that side of town for me, like, and it was easier to hang out with them, and, like, you and Jen are on this side of town, so it's harder to see you guys, but, like, at the same time, like, I don't want that and it hasn't necessarily, but I don't want that to be, like, a big factor of, like, why I don't see you guys, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's not just on me, though, you know? Like,
it's also very realistic of, like, your time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna come at fucking 6 p.m. on a Friday on a whim.
You could.
You could.
But I'm also, like, again, it's not on me. Like, I feel like Jen might already have plans. You might already have plans. Or, like, you don't even want to see anybody. And that's fine. So it's, like...
Friendships are hard.
It's hard, dude. It's fucking hard. But anyway. moving on.
We did kind of bypass people moving closer. I just feel like that was...
Like, that being a friendship change, like, getting maybe
people
closer,
moving like physically moving closer,
and then that becoming like
another shift of, like, expectations, and it's like, you're closer to me.
Proximity is a huge deal.
Why aren't you seeing me all the time? You're
literally
3 minutes away.
That would be me, though, if you, like, moved to, like, Culver City or something. I'd be like,
you say, oh, so you actually just don't want to see me
now.
You actually
don't fucking care about me, huh?
Stupid.
Bitch, just kidding.
But yeah, I think, see, there's clearly a shift in expectations when you are closer to people. But it's also, like, I guess when you think of, like, someone moving away, how it changed each of your
dynamics
right. And your own, like, individual, what's the word? I'm trying to think, like, projection, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like your own fucking life. It changed your life in its own way. So even like moving closer, each of your lives is now shifting in its own way. Whether it's like you guys choosing to make the time to see each other more because you are closer, or it being like, hey, I'm really sorry, but everything I already do in my life is what it is, and it's too hard to like make a specific, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think if someone has, like, I work 9 to 5. I do this out on Tuesdays. I do this on Thursdays. Not that they shouldn't make time for that person, but it's just, like, it's going to be an adjustment. Like, we're going to have to figure it out how we're both going to
totally
make that work or whatever.
I think that tends to, like, just happen naturally.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people get, like, you have to integrate things back into your life. Mm-hmm. I feel like that definitely was a thing that I experienced as the person moving away and then moving back. I had a certain group of friends at the time that when I left, I didn't feel like very sought after, or like, I guess it's a two-way street though. Like, I feel like I did try to call them and stuff and text them, and I feel like it just like wasn't like a reciprocal type of thing. But I also like can understand that for some people it's proximity is like a huge deal, whether or not like they want to say that it is. It's just like it's just easier for people to hang out who like live near each other,
next to them. Yeah.
And so when I moved back, I definitely felt that shift of like, I have to make the effort of like integrating them into my life, because when I lived in Seattle, it was just me and Logan and like the occasional going out with her sister. And so I had my very like private life with my partner, and now it was like, let's integrate these people that we had in our lives back in, and how does that function with my current life? And it's hard, but like it ends up happening. You just end up like integrating things, and like becomes a part of like
a new routine.
Yeah. So
very true. Losing friends. Gut-wrenching.
Hurts.
Losing friends sucks. I feel like luckily I've lost minimal amount of friends in my 20s. I can't even think like that. I'm like, high school, left and right.
That's different though. There's so much drama.
That's what I'm saying. Left and right, it was just too easy. But yeah, in my 20s, I don't know that I've lost a lot of really good friendships. I've lost one giant one in my life, and that sucked and still sucks, and I don't know what that friendship, still a lot of questions towards that friendship. That's my big loss there. Do you feel like you have one or multiple?
I feel like I've had like a group leave my life. I feel like that had felt not necessarily like, it was a bummer for sure, but I definitely felt like more of a positive shift in how peace. I was feeling. Yeah, with peace and stuff. I think I've had one other like friendship loss where it ended kind of like on really weird and bad terms. And so it's just kind of like accepting
where people are
at, and like also accepting like that you may never come to an agreement of how things ended, or like the reasons why things ended. And it could be from like a multitude of reasons. Like I feel like maybe on my end it would feel like, you know, our values weren't aligning, and for them it'd be like, you know, they just like didn't make time for me anymore, and it's like completely both different reasons. They're both valid. So it's just, I don't know, losing friends, it's just hard.
You just like, your point of it, like everyone has their reasons and they could be valid. I feel like that's kind of, I guess, like, the point. Obviously, sometimes there's a reason, and it's like, you fucked my best friend or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of Ariana.
And we'll get to it.
Like, there's obviously reasons when you lose friends where it's like, nah, bitch, you fucked up.
You fucked up, for sure.
And that is why we are no longer friends. But most of the time, it's just like, your lives are not in line with each other, and there's a reason you guys aren't friends right now. Or going to be ever again. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be okay. And it could be the multiple reasons we already like talked about, like moving away or moving closer. Maybe you guys don't fucking vibe in a close relationship anymore. Maybe there's like a whole new set of group of friends that they have that you don't like, or maybe they have a new boyfriend that you don't like, or a new girlfriend, new partner that you don't necessarily like enjoy being around, and so you distance yourself, or I don't know, someone is too settled and you don't feel like your lives really match anymore, even though I feel like that's a very unfair point of view, just because I think it could just be a conversation of like, hey, I enjoyed our like fun nights out, and like I would love to have something more spontaneous like that in our lives versus like me coming over for dinner. Yeah. it's just
there's
compromises, but I don't know. I think losing a friend, though, I think sometimes feels like out of control, and it's out of your control, and you just really can't. And that's like the acceptance part that I feel like you just have to. I think get with it.
My struggle, and mine might just be particular to my situation, but I feel like my biggest struggle is feeling like I just like, it's weird. I'm like a very forgiving person, but I'm also not. Like, once you do me wrong, like, abso-fucking-lutely wrong, I'm done with you. Like, don't care. But if you just, like, do me a little dirty.
It's okay.
Like, I'm a little bit, it's fine. Like, because I'll just make excuses. I'm like, oh, but they were going through something. Or they clearly didn't have the whole situation. Or they this, and that. Or we just see things different. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I just make excuses. And maybe that's my problem here. But I just feel, maybe that's, I think it's particular to my situation. But I feel like there's always more that I can do, like, and maybe that's just my intuition telling me you need to keep trying, or it's my anxiety being like, one day you're gonna look back and be like, what the fuck? But I'm like, but maybe we're just not supposed to be the way we were. Maybe we don't line up anymore, but maybe we do. We're fucking strangers at this point. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the I don't know is what's keeping me like attached to this friendship.
I
mean, there's other things that keep me attached to this friendship, of course.
I think also, like, it's something, as an adult, because it's so hard to make friends, I think we all attach ourselves to the ideas and friendships that have become from childhood because it was so easy and so, like, flawless to come to them. And the ends hurt because of those same reasons of, like, we were perfect. Like, why? Like, why did it end?
Get fucked up because we're adults now.
And so, like, I think that's what you're probably holding on to is, like, I think friendships as, like, children or, like, young, being young is just, it's so powerful that it's hard to get rid of, like, any positive, like, thing that you're holding on to.
Yeah.
And like you said, you probably are strangers now. And that's actually, like, I don't know, I find that really, like, exciting because, like, I feel like you could reach out maybe. And, like, maybe you both are on different pages about things now. I think maybe you felt like you were done very dirty in the past, but maybe now after hearing her perspective, it's just different. Or you can, like, agree to disagree and be like, honestly,
I don't give a fuck anymore.
That was X-aged Sam and that was X-aged this girl. And... yeah. We're not those people anymore. So it's like, why does that even matter? I definitely have come to start a new old friendship.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that way as well, where, like, I felt like this person had done me dirty. Like, we had a disagreement. A disagreement of falling out due to, like, a very intense fight. And... now I'm at the point of, like, honestly, even if I did do you dirty, and for you it is valid, even though, like, I'm like, it's not because it's my perspective or whatever, you know, it doesn't even matter, like, because I'm not even that person anymore, and neither are you. So why the fuck are we each judging each other for that space and time that no longer even exists? Like,
and that's the thing too about friendships ending. Both of your reasons can be valid, and it's just the universe saying, don't be friends right now.
Yeah.
But if you both can come back together and are like, we're crazy, what are we doing? We want to be friends.
Yeah.
That's enough. Like, I think the desire, always, love isn't enough. But like, in friendships, when you feel like you don't know where you like stand, I guess, I feel like it is enough to at least rekindle something. Obviously, it's not enough to sustain a fucking friendship, but it's enough to be like, maybe we are meant to be friends.
Yeah. And I think like, when you're kids, you like bond over very like
just pivotal,
pure and like pure intentions, very pure understanding of like who you are as people, and of course that changes or like like manifests into different things as you grow older. But I think that like initial thing is always still there, and so like exploring that piece and not the piece that like ended it is really exciting. So yeah, if you have like anybody that you feel you could be friends with now, it's worth the conversation, especially if the other person's like not necessarily coming from a place of like hate or like complete and utter like,
it's like they still like your pics on Instagram, you know what I mean? Or they don't block you. Like there's still some sort of like, I love to see that you're living your life.
Totally.
To whatever degree.
I think a little tidbit that I want to include is like, whether, you know, your relationship, I'm not going to talk about things ending necessarily, but I'm just going to talk about like the changes of friendship. Whatever you're going through, whether it's like a distance thing or it's even just like somebody got extremely busy or someone's having children or like whatever it is that's changing the relationship. I think a lot of times we make a big deal of trying to make a plan to see them or to like I don't know, just to figure out what's going on with their life and just like catch up, you know? And it really doesn't have to be. Like, I think something that I think about often is like, first of all, I'm just like now as a 26-year-old getting comfortable with calling people or like even FaceTiming. Like I do it with like a couple of friends and I'm very comfortable with that piece of it all. But like, when I call a different friend and like I'm on FaceTime, I'm like, okay, well, like I gotta go now. No, it's not even business. I'm just like, okay, it's been like 5 minutes. Like I want to hang up because I'm uncomfortable because I don't really know how to like have this like flow of conversation with them. Anyway, I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but it's different for everyone. But for me, like for example, like my friend Jen, like I feel like I try to call her and like catch up in that way, in like a very deep way where I'm like, hey, like tell me what you've been through in the last like 2 weeks or whatever the fuck, even though we've kind of text like here and there. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I really want to call her, but it might take like an hour or two of my day, so like I'm probably gonna call her when I have time in the car or like I have time where I'm not like making plans with Logan or other friends at the moment. And then it just becomes like this like, not a chore, but like it becomes something that I have to schedule versus just like doing it and catching up, when like that could have just been a quick 10-minute call that like happens constantly versus like
a big lump sum.
Right. And I feel like for me personally, something that's like very workable and very like exciting to me too is like voice memos. Like there's nothing like it for me. I feel like I could catch up with somebody and like I like can do other things while I'm like listening to the person talk to me. And I love the part that you can like respond at any time that you want versus like sitting to have like a conversation is also really exciting. And then you can come back and call them after when you do have time or whatever, you know? So just like making not a big deal about catching up is like a good thing. Making it very casual. Like you also don't have to say like, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Just like send a meme or a fucking tweet or something that reminded you of them and be like, this was really funny. I thought of you.
So
whatever the fuck, you know? And then say like, how are you? But like, you don't have to start with something so serious.
It's interesting because I feel like our generation is so like, all we do is sit on our phone. But then it's like, for some reason, it's like hard to start a conversation over text these days. I don't know. I feel like that's all we did in middle school and high school.
And now I'm like...
And now it's not the same.
How do you keep one going?
I feel like it's almost like we think it's it's not the same to do it over text versus seeing someone in person.
No.
But also we are adults and there's only so much we can do. But like things I see in my mom's friendships that she does, it is more so like scheduling. Obviously with the friends she sees more often or whatever, it's easier and you talk more often and whatever. Right. But for friends that she's like, you're still my friend, but I just don't get to talk to you all the time. It's like, we'll just go grab a drink or grab dinner once a month or something. And then they do like the whole fucking like at least an hour of what's been going on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it's just interesting. I don't know. I mean, there is nothing like face-to-face interactions with people, especially for important things in people's lives. But it's also, it doesn't have to be that deep. If you know you're busy, but you also are like, I want my friend to know I'm thinking of them and I know that something crazy is about to happen in their life or whatever. We do. I feel like our friends are pretty good at like being like, hey, so how was that? Or
yeah,
how was the first week of X, Y, and Z been?
Totally.
So yeah,
it's just making I promise you, like the smallest efforts mean a lot, because it's much more than just like a little like check-in or tidbit. Like to them it's like, oh, this person is thinking of me at this exact moment, and I don't know, that always feels nice. I don't know, it's just, it's nice to know that a person can put effort into a relationship no matter what the degree is, versus like trying to do this big
Someone sent me a TikTok. Was it you? I don't know. Someone sent me a TikTok. No, I think I just saw it and then I reposted it or something. But it was basically, this woman was 28 and she's like, I basically just turned 28 and I just broke up with my boyfriend of like 2 years. And she's like, it's crazy because 2 years prior to that, I'd never had a boyfriend. And I was 25 years old and I was basically feeling like a loser, a nobody, because I'd never had a boyfriend. Like, I'm going to be alone. And she's like, and I look back on that and I think it's so silly because look at me now. I'm 28 and I am still without a boyfriend. And she's like, but I have such a different perspective. She's like, my whole life I was so picky, and not picky in a bad way, but like I was so particular about who I would let into my life and let love me in that way. And she's like, also, I vowed for my ex-boyfriend. He was amazing. It's like, okay, girl, what?
Okay.
Yeah. And she's like, basically the point of her story was like, I valued my friendships so much that I expected my partner to be as good, if not better, than my friendships. So like, it's interesting that we don't think of friendships as like being cultivated to be the bare minimum, but more. Like, why do we take partners who are like not even as good as our friends? You know what I mean? So it's like
that part.
So it's like, where's our disconnect? So obviously friendships take a lot of work if you want good ones, and you got to think of them more like relationships the way you do romantic ones. If you are searching for good friends.
Yeah. It's a different relationship. It's just platonic.
Like
you just don't have sex with them.
It's like your mom and brother and sister. Like, it's different, but it's deep.
But it's deep. And it requires effort.
Yes.
That's it. Like, there's no, like... I also don't like the sentiment where people are like... I mean, to a degree, it should be, like, easy and fun. But it doesn't always have to be, like, this easy and fun and free feeling with your friends. It could be, like... something that you put a lot of effort and time to. Like, I don't know, I always like thought that like it's also true that like some friends could be the ones that you don't talk to for months and then you rekindle and you have a conversation
there are, like,
or a date.
Lower maintenance friends.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I think people tend to like
do that.
Like what's the word, like
compensate?
No.
Like they lean too far into that.
Yeah, what is
feeling?
That called though? Like they give it too much like credit.
Yeah.
When like
that's not that type of friendship you have, babe. Like, put some effort in.
Yeah. Like, I don't like putting effort is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people like the way that friendships are described as like low maintenance. It's like okay, like, but then the ones that do have effort and aren't low maintenance necessarily it's not a negative thing. Like, being, I don't even want to say high maintenance, but like just putting effort into a friendship is not a bad thing. Yeah. And I feel like it has a bad rep.
Even I think low maintenance people maybe they don't have low maintenance friendships, so they don't get it. Like they're taking it wrong. It still requires effort, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not just like they're just there for me and I don't have to fucking be there for them or whatever. Yeah. It's still very much like, it's like the lifelong friendships for me. The lifelong ones since elementary, middle school, that are my low maintenance ones. But it's just like, maybe there's this like veil of security because I've known them for so long, and like the way we talk to each other is very much like we're on the same page about that. Like, you're my fucking best friend forever, like I got nothing to worry about. Yeah. But also there's still effort. Like, it's not like we're like, okay, cool, won't talk to you for like 6 months. It's like, no, like we're still catching up, hanging out, seeing how each other is doing. Maybe that's like the low maintenance part. I don't fucking know. Like, just that invisible veil in the background.
Yeah. I think some people have like a very warped personal view on it, where like I think it just comes from having like friends who maybe are bad friends, toxic. And so it's just like you talk about this like low maintenance stuff as if it's all but nothing like truth, and like I don't know, maybe you're either like that person's toxic or you're not being a good friend yourself, and you're
calling it low maintenance. Yeah. Also, I feel like there's like the whole soulmate thing. Maybe that's also the low maintenance, or just, I don't know. I feel like just in general, like they can be high maintenance friends, but like soulmates can be your friends too. So I feel like if you believe in the whole past lives stuff and how, you know, your friends could also have been your sisters in a past life, or your fucking family, or your husband, wife, whatever. So like we're all potentially have lived lives with each other in the past. So I don't know. What kind of crazy. What if we were like I don't know, cousins in a past life, and it was like the 20s, but look at us now. Podcast together.
And now we're podcasting and shooting the shit.
They would be so proud of us. So yeah.
On that topic though, if y'all are in the mood to watch a movie, a good one, it's called Past Lives, literally.
Okay, random.
Yeah. It's in theaters right now. It's like based on like this Korean, I don't want to say couple, but like pair of friends who were in love when they were like 12, and then she moved away to Canada and then to New York.
So on point.
Yeah. And so then like they rekindle and they talk about like past lives, and how in Korea there's like a concept, I forgot what it's called, but it's about past lives and how like we all tend to like continue to like cycle up like relationships. So good. I'm literally bawled my eyes out. But anyway, go watch it if you're into this like concept and what we're talking about. It's a good one.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Anyway, let's wrap this up by just letting you know, thank you for watching or listening. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and or follow us on Instagram or anything that you're listening on, and engage with us, guys, please.
Yes, give us a rating if you have not already. Super appreciate that on whatever you're listening, Apple or Spotify. I don't think any of the other ones do ratings, but Apple and Spotify, please.
Just do it.
And thank you. Yeah, we'll see you guys in Glowing Hour.
All right. Bye.